January 28th, 2020. Joe here at Simple Life Show, where the simplest answers are usually the best. Thanks for everybody for joining me today. Project Veritas has just come out with another video here over the last day or so that's exposing Bernie Sanders' staff for being radicals. Wow, I guess that's not really a far-fetched idea, since Bernie is an avowed democratic socialist. I would say he was just an avowed socialist. There's really no difference. You know, it's all how quick or slow you get to the ultimate form of communism. Socialism always leads to communism, and it always has its inception through an iron fist and violence and a violent takeover of property. We see this now with this new Project Veritas undercover expose, and we have a few clips here that we'll be showing here in the next few seconds. But I do want to say one thing. I don't know if Bernie Sanders really endorses this type of thing. I can't read his mind. I am not inside of his head. I don't know whether he endorses a lot of this stuff or whether these are just two random rogue type of Bernie Sanders staffers. I don't know yet. I'm willing to concede that might be the issue here. I don't know. You might have any kind of radical on anyone's staff. It doesn't mean that that person condones of those types of things. But as we have seen throughout history, socialism, it does not fare too well, especially in a society that really values the individual freedoms of its population, including the freedom to property. Socialism is all about putting the property in the hands of the state to divvy out equally amongst all the people to make sure everything's equitable and everything's fair. We all want to live in a utopia society, a society where people don't starve to death. We don't want to see these things happen, but there's better ways to solve these issues inside of a free society without resorting to socialism. So we'll go ahead and watch these clips, and there's two clips. I'll play the first one now.
States about, the gulags and the persecution of the kulaks and things like that are exaggerated. We certainly don't have a straight perspective on that stuff here in America. I canvassed with someone who's like an anarchist, and I canvassed with someone who's more of a Marxist-Leninist, and so we track radical, like truly radical people to the campaign. That's obviously not like outward facing.
Bernie has been out there standing on the picket lines and doing the uncomfortable stuff, and I absolutely think that he would endorse that kind of action. Sometimes that's what you got to do to get it done.
It's going to take it's going to take militancy. But just like a militant labor movement that's willing to, strike, and if necessary, just destroy property and things like that. A lot of those people who do that kind of work are their politics fall well outside of the American sort of norm. So they're Marxist-Leninists, they're anarchists, they're these types of folks, and they have more of a mind for direct action, for engaging in politics outside of the electoral system.
It is unfortunate that we have to make plans for extreme action, but like I said, they're not going to give it to us, even if Bernie is elected. We don't want to scare people off, so you kind of got to feel it out first before you get into the crazy stuff. Or more extreme organizations and stuff like Antifa, and you're talking about the yellow vests and all that, but we're kind of keeping that on the back burner for right now. We would need a federal government and a labor movement that is working together to strip power away from capitalists and preferably directing that violence towards property. After we abolish landlords, we don't have to kill them. You know what I'm saying?
I would highly recommend everyone out there that's looking at this type of stuff to give Project Veritas at least a subscription. Share their stuff. If you have information on something that might be that might cause a lot of issues, then I would highly recommend contacting them. Try to give them as much support as you can. Now, the members of Project Veritas actually caught up with one of these members and had some questions for them.
Project Veritas action. You said it's unfortunate that we have to plan for extreme action.
You don't want to scare people with the crazy stuff like Antifa and the Yellow Vest movement.
Well, I think, we don't want to scare people off. So you kind of got to feel it out first before you get into the crazy stuff. Or more extreme organizations and stuff like Antifa, and, you're talking about the Yellow Vests and all that. But, we're kind of keeping that on the back burner for right now.
What kind of extreme action did you have in mind? Does the Sanders campaign endorse this policy? Does Bernie Sanders endorse this policy?
Fellas, that was taken out of context, and I think you should leave.
You were taken out of context. So you don't believe in crazy violent stuff?
It states about, the gulags and the persecution of the kulaks and things like that are exaggerated.
Sorry about that. The first video actually started to play on accident there, but you get the gist here. I'm not exactly sure how that could have been taken out of context. It was pretty blatant on what they wanted to do. Now, the real question, like I said, is this really what Bernie Sanders believes? I really hope not. I really hope that his heart's in the right place and he doesn't want to start taking over everyone's property. But since he is an avowed socialist, I have to have a word of caution, and I have to be cautious, very cautious about anyone that says that they are a socialist and wants to run for in a country that's everything that makes up the foundation of that country is the antithesis to socialism. It's all about independent freedom. It's about independent enterprise. It's about protecting your life and liberty and your happiness and stuff like that. That's the only role that the government should be playing in our lives. Unfortunately, we have let these socialist type of constructs inside of this country, and they have grown over so many decades. Now it's becoming a kind of trendy thing to support communism, and it's almost like that we have had a collective amnesia, at least on some levels, about what the dangers of communism is and socialism, which inevitably leads to communism. So we really need to pay attention here. I'm not saying Bernie Sanders is a bad person. I'm saying you need to do your research on what this man believes and what he wants to do. Stop buying into this, this whole pandering thing where Bernie likes to, in fact, a lot of the candidates on the Democrat side want to say, well, let's just legalize all cannabis. I'm totally in favor of that. But I would not use that as a stepping stone off of a cliff. Until next time, this is Joe with Simple Life Show. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.